The distress beacon had been silent for 3 rotations when Lieutenant Arya Voss finally traced its origin to the Corvan jungle moon. Protocol dictated she wait for backup. Protocol dictated a lot of things that got people killed. She descended alone. The jungle canopy swallowed her dropship whole, branches scraping against hull plating like claws on a coffin. Through the viewport she could see them, the Vrexil. Dozens of them. 6-legged nightmares with mandibles that could shear through combat armor, their obsidian carapaces gleaming wetly in the bioluminescent undergrowth. They circled something in a clearing, patient as death itself. Arya's scanner painted the scene in cold blue light. 3 life signs. Small. Fading. Corvan cubs. The Corvans were the galaxy's apex predators, 8 feet of muscle and fury, with a reputation that made even the Terran Marine Corps step carefully. Their young, however, were vulnerable, helpless. And these 3 were dying she should have left. The Corvans had made their stance on human intervention abundantly clear after the Terex incident. Her presence here could trigger a diplomatic catastrophe. The cubs weren't her responsibility. Arya checked her rifle's charge and kicked open the door anyway. The first Vrexil died before it registered her presence. The second managed to screech a warning before her plasma round punched through its thorax. Then they were all moving, a tide of chitin and hunger, and Arya was in the center of it, her armor taking hits that would have liquefied an unprotected human. She fought like Earth had taught her to fight, dirty, desperate, and without mercy. A mandible caught her thigh, tearing through the armor's weak joint. Another slashed across her ribs. She felt something crack. Ignored it. Her rifle overheated and she dropped it, pulling her sidearm and a vibroblade in the same motion. The blade hummed as it carved through alien flesh, the pistol barking in her other hand. When the clearing finally fell silent, 17 Vrexil corpses littered the ground. Arya counted 3 compound fractures, 2 deep lacerations, and at least 1 punctured lung. She was leaking blood from a dozen places, her armor hanging in shreds. The cubs huddled in a crater, partially buried under debris from their crashed transport. The eldest, barely reaching Arya's waist, bared tiny fangs at her. His eyes were the color of molten copper, burning with instinct and terror. "Easy," Arya wheezed, each word agony. "I'm not here to hurt you." The cub, Rin, according to her scanner's translation of his identification chip, hissed. Behind him 2 smaller cubs whimpered, one bleeding from a head wound. Arya's medical scanner painted a grim picture. The youngest wouldn't survive another hour without treatment. The middle cub had severe internal injuries. Even Rin, defiant as he was, showed signs of shock and dehydration. She couldn't carry 3 cubs and her weapons. The jungle was still full of Vrexil, and her extraction window was closing. Humans, the galaxy often said, were weak, fragile. They had no natural weapons, no armor, no venom. They were prey animals that had somehow stumbled into space. The galaxy had never seen a human mother protect her young. Arya dropped everything except her sidearm and her emergency beacon. She rigged her rifle to overload, a makeshift explosive to cover their retreat. Then she reached into the crater, ignoring Rin's snapping jaws, and gathered the cubs into her arms. The youngest weighed almost 50 pounds, the middle one 60. Rin fought her for 3 seconds before exhaustion overcame instinct. Together they were a burden that would have staggered a Corvan adult. Arya ran anyway. Her broken ribs ground together with each step. Her punctured lung made every breath a drowning. Blood loss turned her vision gray at the edges. Behind her, the Vrexil came, drawn by scent and sound, a chittering wave of death. She triggered the rifle's overload. The explosion bought her 90 seconds. The jungle turned into a blur of pain and motion. She fell twice, crushing vegetation beneath her and the cubs. Each time she forced herself up. Rin had stopped struggling. He pressed against her chest, his copper eyes watching her face with something that might have been understanding. "Not dying here," Arya told him, or maybe told herself. Not today. Her beacon screamed coordinates into the void. The extraction point was 2 kilometers away. Might as well have been 2 light years. A Vrexil erupted from the undergrowth, mandibles spread wide. Arya twisted, shielding the cubs with her body. Felt chitin pierce her shoulder. She jammed her sidearm against the creature's head and fired until it stopped moving. 1 kilometer. Her left leg stopped responding. She dragged it forward through sheer spite. The cubs clutched against her chest. The youngest had stopped whimpering. The middle one's breathing was shallow. Rin's claws dug into her shredded armor, not fighting anymore, just holding on. Half a kilometer more of Rexil. She couldn't fight them. Couldn't run. So she did the only thing left. She gave them a target. Her remaining grenades, armed and thrown behind her, bought precious seconds as the creatures scattered from the explosions. She crawled the last 100 meters. The extraction ship's searchlights found her at the clearing's edge, a broken human dragging herself forward on her elbows. 3 alien predator cubs still clutched in her arms. The ship's automated defenses shredded the pursuing Vrexil. When the medical team reached her, Arya's vitals were critical. She had lost nearly half her blood. Her lung had collapsed. Multiple organs were failing. She didn't let go of the cubs until the ship's doctor swore they were safe. 3 days later, Arya woke in the medical bay to find Rin sitting beside her bed. The cub, no longer whimpering, no longer afraid, met her eyes with that copper gaze. In the Corvin way, he pressed his forehead against her bandaged hand. The gesture, her translator informed her, meant pack, meant family, meant the Corvins didn't forget. The galaxy called humans weak, fragile, prey. But Lieutenant Arya Voss had walked through hell carrying the children of monsters, and emerged on the other side still standing, still protecting, still human. And that, the galaxy was learning, made all the difference.